Hello, everyone. Greetings. We're so glad that you are here today to be with me and Elizabeth as we're discussing a topic that I know is near and dear to all of your hearts, and that is caregiver retention and recruitment. My friend Elizabeth here is co-founder and co-owner of CareCrown. It's an app that offers rewards and recognitions to caregivers for doing things they're already doing, like clocking in and out and accepting shift offers and just things like that, again, they're already doing. Hopefully you know me by now, but if you don't, my name is Nikki. I'm the marketing communications manager here at Rosemark. And now I would like for Elizabeth to introduce herself and tell you a little bit about why she helped found CareCrown. And then we'll talk about some ways that you can track some very specific things within your organization to help your agency grow and thrive. So Elizabeth, tell us a little bit about you.
Thank you, Nikki, and thank you for having me on
Yeah,
today. This is
excited.
a very passionate topic for me. My name again is Elizabeth Moss. I am the founder of the incentive and reward program that CareCrown is, and I had my own company, the first and longest standing home care company in Nashville, Tennessee. So I have experience with the struggles that you face as well, which is how CareCrown was born. So we will get started.
Yeah. You want to go to that second slide and
Yes, I
yeah,
have to, sorry, I had to
it's okay.
get to the part where I can flip the slides. So
There we go.
the topic for today is what gets measured gets managed. And so when we measure things, we can manage KPIs and metrics and how we're losing caregivers and money. And Peter Drucker, said this a long time ago. And as a nurse, I kind of learned this myself in nursing school. It's the same philosophy. We assess, we implement solutions, we hit some goals, and we reassess and we implement more solutions to get more, to hit more goals, to move the needle to where we're going. So if we track how we're losing revenue, and a lot of us are thinking about recruiting and retention, namely for the purposes of this presentation. And this slide really depicts what it costs to hire caregivers and train them, and how many caregivers we're losing as a result of the turnover rate of almost 80% in our industry. So there's a range of about $500 to $2,600 that people use for the cost of hiring and training caregivers. We're going to use $500 here because that's very conservative. And if you're going to hire 10 caregivers a month, that's 60,000 annually to hire and keep those 10 caregivers. But when we're losing 80% of them, or even let's say 50%, let's be conservative, and we're losing 50% of them, then automatically we have to tack on another 30,000 to that base 60,000. And are you losing clients also as a result of not having enough caregivers? And so what is the lost revenue for those clients that you're losing? I was losing, I was having to turn down clients as a result of this. And then overtime, what is that costing you? And when you put all that together, it's a significant cost. When I began tracking all of these numbers, I realized I was losing $250,000 every year. But by tracking, I cut that in half the first year, which was significant, obviously, and I wanted to do better. So I began looking at how I was losing these. What were the metrics that I could track and put in place that would help me recoup that lost revenue?
Yeah, I think that's really important because if anybody that I would say is our customer now, or any agency that's watching this would ask themselves, have you had a day recently where it felt like everything hinged on one or two caregivers showing up? The answer is probably yes, so
Absolutely.
yeah, and they
We,
feel that pain.
yes, I have felt that pain. I would imagine anybody listening to this, any agency has felt that pain, and I hear it all the time still. And so, yeah, if we don't have that caregiver to show up, we lose the client. And then also, when we lose a client, we sometimes lose caregivers because we need hours for them to work. They need to be able to feed their families. And so I was manually tracking all of these things and pulling information and data from the platform that I was using at the time was a challenge all on its own. And so I began to think through how could I make this simpler, faster, and easier. So let's just stop there for a minute and think about what are the threats to our agency or any business for that matter. So turnover is the obvious, having no metrics, no way to measure or track what the turnover is for our individual agency. And then the disengagement of caregivers or the workforce period. Back in the pandemic, we heard a lot about disengagement. Ghosting was new to the workforce. And so, what would it look like at the end of this year if you could radically improve caregiver retention and performance? And so this is possible just by tracking. In home care specifically, I've learned that these 5 metrics are what move the needle. They are the KPIs that drive retention, the metrics, key performance indicators, which are metrics, which are things we track to know the information that we need.
Yes, and every
So
agency should have KPIs. I can't tell you how many of our customers have come to us and said, what is a good KPI? What is a KPI? They've literally had to start at the beginning, because if you're new to owning a business, you might not know what a KPI is. So I'm glad that you brought this up. These are important things that, as key performance indicators, they are the lifeblood of any business.
the great point, Nikki, because me too. When I was a new business owner, I didn't know what KPIs or metrics were for that matter. I'm a nurse by background, a caregiver by heart, and a entrepreneur out of necessity or by default, I guess. So, I had to ask the questions. And at that point in time, in 1997, the entrepreneurship wasn't as trendy as it is today and as popular. So I didn't know who to ask. But I found people and I learned. And so in nursing, though, we did track things. They were just called goals. They were called assessment questions, or I can't even remember what they were called. That was so long ago. So, but the point is, if we're not tracking, we're behind.
Yep.
And the things to track, like on-time clock-ins, call outs, client feedback, training completion, and hours lost are imperative in our business. Hours lost are the revenue indicator. The training completion, we need them to be trained. They want training. So let's track that to be sure they're getting what they need to retain them and that our clients get skilled caregivers. The client feedback, we need to hear. Many times clients don't want to say anything. They're afraid to. But this is a simple way to get that information that they don't have to be afraid. And call outs, oh my gosh, how many call outs do we have? We just need to incentivize these things so the business can survive and caregivers also get their needs met.
Yeah.
So,
And
what?
I was just gonna say that my next question was going to be what challenges do agencies face when it comes to tracking that kind of data, but I think you're about to answer it.
I am. Here we are. CareCrown in action. So after tracking these things manually for so long, I had a light bulb moment one time and realized that I could possibly automate this. And I partnered with some people and we've gamified it. And so that is what we have today called CareCrown. So it automates your tracking. It automates caregivers' ability to want to do certain things that they are already doing, which Nikki pointed out earlier. It makes it fun for them. And so it's gamified, which you can see a little bit here. We're keeping in the business aspect of this for purposes of this presentation. However, so the results that we've seen from one of our customers who we have transformed her business. It's a company in Chicago. And when we started with her, she had a 76% turnover rate.
Wow.
And we've decreased that, as you can see, by 58% in just 9 months. And the first exciting metric, however, was that we improved her on-time clock-ins by 34% in the first 60 days. This is
Wow.
huge
Yeah, that's
because,
huge, especially if you're dealing with Medicaid, right?
yes, the 30, 60, 90 days is the biggest time frame for any of our businesses that we need to retain those caregivers. That is such a critical time period. And so we also improved the call outs. Caregivers call out all the time, and it's seasonal. We know, so now we're incentivizing them to not call out. We're incentivizing them to be on time. And so our turnover rate improves. And so you can see her revenue grew $420,000 in that first year.
That's incredible. That's incredible. One of the things you said a couple times during this chat is automation. And I just want to
Yes.
point out because people that are watching this, the majority are going to be our customers, but there might be some who are not currently our customers. But I would say the majority who are watching this already have a software system like Rosemark. So they're already automating a bunch of things. So this is not a hard lift. But to me, anything you can do to stop manually tracking is just going to help your business, in an exponential way.
Yes. And so CareCrown takes the information that Rosemark has and compiles it in a different way so that we can see what this particular data is around those 5 key performance indicators. So the impact of CareCrown is broad. So we impact a lot of things in the business. And we talked about this automation, but we're impacting the open shifts and how many there are. And oh my gosh, it's such a scary thing to look at the monitor and see all the open shifts when you're on Wednesday and you're heading into the weekend. So now caregivers want open shifts because they are earning points. They are earning cash or gift cards based on those points. It improves morale and confidence. They're earning badges as they hit some of the streaks that we call them in the app. We are lowering HR costs. We have this functions as a tool as well for HR in making decisions like justifying terminations or coaching people up or out. So in essence, that's all about stronger retention. And that is really what we're doing. And in turn, we create a higher return on your investment. And
I
we
think
all know that when caregivers are happy, everyone else is happy. The clients, the families, the referral sources, and you, the entire
agreed.
community. Yes.
Agreed. Yeah, and I think this is where agency owners and operators need to ask themselves, what is the current mood of your organization, of your agency? And what is your current method for trying to improve that mood or the morale? How are you currently trying to reduce open shifts? And is that working? Is it effective? And if not, what other tools out there like CareCrown can you implement to help improve that mood, which in turn helps increase retention rates?
Right. So we're creating efficiencies with the tool, efficiencies in operations, caregiver satisfaction, caregiver performance, client satisfaction, HR practices, and even compliance in HR, and fewer calls to the office by caregivers. So many of those things that we have challenges with.
Excellent.
So take control today and start tracking what matters now and recover the lost revenue that's leaking out of your business.
This is awesome information. I think that one of the holdbacks I think that some admins or agency owners might have is, how am I going to sell this to my care staff? Personally, I don't think it's a hard sell, but I'm going to let you explain that. Like, why do they need, or how do they explain to their care staff, this is not extra work for you. You're getting something out of this. Like, what are they getting the caregivers as like a reward?
Well, number one, and it is a sell because any change in our operation, we have to think about our team and how we're going to roll this out. We've taken a lot of the heavy lift from you. We've created training ourselves. We've created email templates to send out to the caregivers. But I think they're already doing these tasks. They're already clocking in. They're already doing their training. They are already hoping that their clients are happy and so forth. So we're just replacing that the philosophy around doing those things, that they get something for it. You know, we all are playing games and getting rewards for at the grocery store, the airline, and so forth. So everybody is already doing this. And so we're just adding this to the home care operations. So caregivers for clocking in get points. For doing their training, they get points. For getting positive client feedback, they earn points. For picking up extra shifts, they earn points. And those points build up to earn cash. The number one things caregivers want is to earn more money. And now they get to earn more money based on their individual performance. So, you know, selling that to caregivers is easy. It has been easy in our experience.
You're not asking them to do anything new. You're just asking them to do things better, right?
Correct.
Clocking in
Yes.
on time, not late, not calling out. Yeah. And all those things, like you said, are going to really lead to better business operations. So, what I would ask the people watching this is, if you could recover even 10% of your lost hours or revenue this year, what would that mean for your team or for your peace of mind? And you already gave us a great example of an agency that implemented this and recovered way more than 10% of their lost hours and lost revenue.
Yes, she grew 77% last
Yeah.
year. Mm-hmm.
So what would you do with that extra revenue? What would you do with that extra time? So
That's
that's what,
right.
yeah, that's what tracking these metrics could mean for an agency that's struggling with caregiver retention and recruitment. You know, look at that bottom line. So thank you
Exactly.
so much.
Thank you, Nikki. It's also a differentiator in the marketplace because
Mhm.
as agencies add this to their operations, they can market this and attract caregivers, and in turn will attract clients. They'll be able to take on those clients. So yes, it's a win-win for everybody.
And I say that's how they need to look at it, is add this to their benefits roster of the benefits that you're giving to your employees. Some might give, some time off, paid time off. They might give dental, vision, just different things like that. This to me is another benefit that you are rolling out to your staff.
That's correct. In past, we increased wages across the board because caregivers wanted more money, right? But the problems didn't improve. The call outs didn't improve. The late clock ins didn't improve. As a matter of fact, those things have gotten worse as we've increased the pay and increased benefits. So how are we going to support and create structure around what the business needs, and then, incentivize the caregivers to also do what the business needs? So in turn, caregivers get their needs met, and so does the business.
I think that's excellent. And obviously, you have that personal experience of owning an agency previously and seeing those needs. So, coming up with a tool like this to really help improve retention and also recruitment, because we've been talking a lot about retention, but it's hard hiring caregivers these days. So, adding that as a benefit to your recruitment package, I think is really going to help agencies, level up and kind of get ahead of their competition.
Yes. If you can, market to the caregivers who are receiving probably 3 offers a day for
Wow.
jobs, and yours stands out because they get to earn extra money for just clocking in on time and picking up extra shifts. I mean,
Yeah,
caregivers are attracted to that.
that's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Elizabeth, for sharing this data with us and really opening our eyes to how these metrics can make an impact on agency operations and just the bottom line. We know that agencies across the country are struggling with these same problems right now regarding retention and recruitment. So anything we can do to help them come up with creative solutions to help make a positive impact on their operations is a win in our book. And we are always looking for things like that to offer our customers, to let them know about, so that they can help improve their operations without a heavy lift. And I don't feel like this is a heavy lift. I feel like this is an easy lift for them. And it's
Yes,
an easy lift for their caregivers because, like you said, they're already doing these things. They're just getting rewarded to do them better. So
that's right.
hopefully everybody got the information they needed, but if not, you've got a QR code right here. Please go ahead and scan that if you need to reach out to a member of the CareCrown team for additional information. But you can always feel free to reach out to a member of our Rosemark team as well, and we can connect you with someone who can help. So thank you everybody so much for your time today. And we hope that you have a great day. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Nikki.